Now we're joined in the studio by Dan Perry, international affairs analyst, and Dan, you've had your head truly immersed in all the politics here for many, many years. Look, how do you look at the impact that was made by this really diverse cast of characters outgoing in the government, from left to right, Islamists, and on top of that, the return of Netanyahu? What's your perspective on how this all went?
Israel is very polarized, and the outgoing government represented an effort to be more inclusive in society. It had left-wingers and right-wingers. It had an Arab party for the first time as part of the coalition, and it had some ambition to take Israel into the modern era in a way that is open to the world.
Did they leave a mark?
I think they were somewhat paralyzed by the fact that the right-wing component they're in prevented them from doing very much, but at least it did no damage. That is the major difference now. We have an incoming government that is extremely right-wing and very much dominated by religious and Haredi parties. Now, every incoming government should be congratulated and wished well, but we must also be realistic. This one coming in now is different from all of Netanyahu's previous governments in that, lacking a centrist alternative that would give him negotiating power vis-a-vis the extreme right, he has been forced to give in to most of their demands. And so this is taking Israel down a path that is genuinely dangerous on a host of very strategic issues. And we should remember that Israel is that rare example of a country that has genuine existential dangers facing it. And I'm not even talking about Iran. Essentially, real quick, we have put ultra-nationalists in charge of the settlement enterprise, and they will deepen the settlement deep inside the West Bank. That will not only provoke the Palestinians and make more likely a third intifada, but is taking Israel many steps down the road towards an irreversibility of its connection to the West Bank. That way lies a binational state that is not democratic.
What do you see coming? I mean, this year, there's a lot of fears that you're echoing here about what's to come, the threats to democracy, a whole new cast of leadership. What can be done politically, in terms of a response or in this next year?
Oh, there's, they will talk a lot about people taken to the streets, and some people speak of a tax revolt. Remember, for about half of Israel, the incoming government is a 5-alarm fire. And this is the half of Israel that pays almost all the taxes, that accounts for most of the productivity in the economy, for almost all of Startup Nation. So it's bad. There are two basic views here. One is a catastrophist, that things need to be terrible before the people understand and the pendulum shifts. Okay. And remember, though, that about half the population voted for the outgoing government. Yeah. And it's the splits that caused 6% of the vote to be thrown away and the right wing to have a majority. The only practical thing I can see being done is for the centrist parties, despite their hatred of Netanyahu and their disdain for the idea that a person who's on trial for bribery should be prime minister, they probably have to eat their hat and at some point offer him a centrist government.
Hold out that fig leaf, hold out that ladder down from the tree.
I don't rule out that it will happen by then.
Dan Perry, there's so much more to discuss. Thanks for being with us, though. Taking a look back on the year of 2022 in Israeli politics. Thanks for joining.